So you want to compose music for ad films.
Offspin Media Friends presents So, You Want to Be a Professional Musician? Hosted by Rajesh Ravi.
Hello, this is singer-songwriter and music producer Rajesh Ravi. Welcome to another episode of So You Want to Be a Professional Musician. And today, of course, we're going to be talking about making music for ad films, or if you want to be a professional ad film music composer. Now, while composing for ad music today isn't as lucrative as it was at one point in time, it still is pretty lucrative. And the good thing about this is it's quick turnaround. So projects get over pretty quick and you earn a good amount of money in a short amount of time. Of course, good amount of money once you have a certain level of experience. Like in any other career, in the initial phases, you are going to have to struggle. And of course, it's not as easy as it sounds. So there are several things you need to consider before considering a career as an ad film composer. So what are the skill sets you need for becoming an ad film music composer? First of all, you need to be proficient in music programming. Specifically, you need to know how to use any one of the big popular DAWs like Cubase or Logic or Pro Tools or Ableton, etc. And knowing how to use the DAWs is just one aspect of it. The other thing is you need to know how to compose. That goes without saying. But also compose in a variety of genres, know a lot of music theory, and know how different instruments work, like as many instruments as possible. The reason for this is okay, once you hit it big time, you might have the choice of going specific, or production houses or ad agencies might approach you saying that, oh, okay, this composer is good with these genres, or this particular sound, or this particular type of ad films. But till you get there, you are going to be looked at as a vendor. And you have no idea what kind of brief is going to come your way from the agency or the production house or the client. For example, you may be very good at composing and arranging and programming orchestral music. But tomorrow you may get an ad film where the production house or the agency or the client gives you a music reference and it's jazz or it's rock or it's Punjabi folk music or Tamil folk music. What are you going to do then? I mean, if you tell them, sorry, I can't compose in this genre, or I can't compose in that genre, or I can't do this, or every time you say that is a job lost. Now, of course, it's humanly impossible to know every single genre on the planet, but the more versatile you are as a composer, the more work you're going to get. And again, till you're right at the top, you're not going to have the budget to work with other producers or to work with other instrumentalists. So, this is something you have to learn to do on your own. And that was just the skill aspect of it. There's a second thing which is equally important here, and that is temperament. You need to have a certain kind of temperament when dealing with clients, which in most cases is going to be the ad production house. Now, of course, on the one hand, you don't want people taking advantage of you, but on the other hand, you cannot afford to have an ego. If I were to get a little more specific, what that would mean is, say, for example, if you've gotten a certain brief from the agency or the production house saying, this is the kind of music we want, this is what we're looking for. And after you've done the work, they're like, oh, now turns out we want something entirely different. This is where you have to put your foot down saying that, okay, no, I can't do this unless you pay me extra money, because that is not what was initially agreed upon. However, having said that, within the brief that they've given you, if they're constantly asking you for changes, you have to go in with the assumption, especially if you're just starting off, you have to go in with the assumption that, okay, maybe I am not meeting their brief the way they want. So it's my job to meet their vision. Even though they're not communicating things to me in musical terms, because obviously, why would they? They're not musicians. You're the musician. You have to figure out what they want, as long as they're still sticking to what they initially told you. And from whatever knowledge I have, you not having an ego and being someone who's easy to work with already puts you at a huge advantage. So the bottom line is, be able to compose and produce music in a variety of genres, and while still maintaining your self-respect, be an easy person to work with. But there's still one more important question which I bet is probably going on in your mind. How do I get work? Well, if you're someone who don't have contacts, which I'm guessing is the majority of people listening to this, cold calling. This is literally what happens in every industry when people don't have contacts, which again is the majority of people. So approach ad film production houses, approach ad film agencies, but approach with what? is what you're thinking, right? Well, one common thing that people have been doing is making demo reels. As in, take an existing ad film, remove the music, and put your own over it. And use that as a show reel to approach production houses saying, like, hey, this is the kind of work I can do. And of course, the more the variety of ads you choose and the more variety of genres you compose in, the higher are your chances of getting work. Also, find other ways of networking with aspiring filmmakers, not just ad filmmakers, but any type or any other type of hustle that you might figure out on your own tomorrow. So, all of these skills you gain, all of this knowledge you gain is always going to be worth it. Even if not for ad films, as a composer in general, like, wouldn't you want to be a composer who can compose in a variety of genres and is easy to work with?
You just listened to So You Want to Be a Professional Musician, hosted by Rajesh Ravi, produced by Offspin Media Friends. This podcast is live pretty much everywhere, on Spotify, on Amazon Music, on Apple Podcasts, on Audible, on Gaana, on Savan, on Wink, pretty much any other podcasting platform we could think of. Share it with a friend that you think just has to listen to this podcast. And if you don't mind, give the Offspin team a like, maybe a subscribe on their Instagram page. Keep listening to Offspin content and keep listening.
The opinions expressed in this show are personal to the guests and the host and do not necessarily represent the opinions of the producer or the platform. This show does not intend to defame and denigrate any individual or organization in India or outside. The show is created for entertainment purposes only. It does not encourage smoking, drinking, or any kind of substance use. It may contain the use of harsh language that may be considered offensive, rude, or profane by the listeners. It may also contain incidents that mention or describe mental health issues, casteism, suicide, and violence. Listeners are advised to use their discretion.